Welcome back to week 3 of Earth Systems Processes that Shape the Earth, which is Unit 4 for Grade 4. This week you're going to be looking and you're going to be doing some different explorations that are involving weathering and erosion. And most of these you should be able to do at home with the different materials that you have. Some of them you might not be able to. So before I begin and show you what these stations are and where they are located, just keep in mind that if you can't complete something because you don't have the materials, please just note that in your presentation that you'll be creating. Most of them involve materials you have at home. There are one or two that you might not be able to do. That being said, I understand that you might not be able to do one or two of these, but if there are 7 or 8 of them over the next 2 weeks that I see that you have not done, and you say you can't do them, I'm going to definitely question that, because many of them involve things like a baking pan with different baking materials, or some of them might include some sand or dirt, which you should be able to find outside very simply by walking outside. So as much as I'm saying, make sure that you are very honest with me. Don't cheat the system, because these are actually some pretty fun experience that I'd love for you to learn. So the first thing that I want you to do is create a Google presentation titled Weathering and Erosion. And you'll be using this presentation over the next 2 weeks, and you're going to be showing some of the things that you learn. Then what I want you to do is go to this website. It's called Weathering and Erosion. And you're going to be using, and as I scroll down here, this is the website, you're going to go under Activities and Labs, and then these are the stations that you'll be using. Again, you're not going to be using all of them, and some of them you might not be able to complete, but this would be where you're going to be using them. And as an example, I'm just going to open one. It's going to come up as a PDF, and you don't have to print it out unless I specifically ask for that. But it's going to have very simply what you'll need, the materials. So for this one you need a cake pan, sand, a box, some rocks, and sandpaper, which should be things that you should all be able to find around your house. And then you simply follow the directions. While you're completing these different labs, on each slide of your presentation, I want you to answer the following questions for each station. So make sure on that slide to include a picture of the experiment that you did, so your mom or dad or guardian can take a picture of you doing it, or if you don't want to be in the picture, you can show the materials that you used and what the experiment looked like. And then I want you to make sure you answer the questions that are on the sheet. So for example, the first one, it'll give you the directions and it wants you to record your observations, do another step and record your observations. So very simply, you're going to be recording different observations for that first station. This week I want you to complete labs 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And with station 5, it says use an acid. With that I want you to use a weak acid, which could be something like lemon juice, or really any type of fruit that contains weak acid. It's not going to hurt you in any way. Pineapple would be another very good one to use. For your literacy connection this week, you're really going to start with your writing on erosion. So we open that erosion document that I had you create last week, and under the erosion section, I want you to formulate a paragraph about erosion, and this should be 12 to 15 sentences. With that being said, you can write more than 15 sentences, but I would say at a bare minimum there should be at least 12. With this paragraph, I want you to answer a couple different questions. I want you to explain in your own words what erosion means, what are different types of erosion, and you can use examples that you explored this week. And lastly, I want you to give specific examples of how erosion occurs in the real world. So thinking about those different erosion types, and specifically, like I said, some of the ones that you worked on this week and you'll be working on next week, I want you to give some examples. And you can even say an example that you've seen, and you can put pictures in if you'd like.